Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm so excited for season 2 and the great guests you're going to hear from, their struggles, how they overcame their struggles, their triumphs. Through personal and business life, I think they're tied together, and we're going to share great stories about that. This show isn't just about me. It takes a lot of good people working with me. Among them is my partner, H7 Network, and Clay Hicks. Building relationships, building community is the mission of H7 Network. They want to create a network of champions where everybody wins. Find out more at h7network.com. And we hope to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you through our show. Enjoy the show. We'll talk to you on the other side. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. This is your host, Steve Ramona, and I'm excited because we have an international business, which are very unique on my show, but it's something that people are going to because of remote employee remote activity. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Let's start with you built a large business and bought others. You're a young age. How'd you do that?
Poor life choices and lack of self-awareness generally. No, I grew up. I was always like this. I don't know. I had my first business in middle school selling CDs and that we'd burned off of Napster and Kazaa. And yeah, I never worked in corporate America. I never had a chance to learn all the bad things, and I just kind of did stuff. And some of it was horrible, some of it was great, and the great stuff stuck around.
I love you saying that because it's never, as I told you earlier before the show, it's never a straight path. It's that stock market up and down. You know, if somebody wants to start a business, what advice would you give them?
Count the cost. There's a whole lot of, positive thinking, and if you can believe, you can achieve. And I think you need a little bit of that. You need some confidence. But you also need a reserve. You also need a backup plan. You need to know that you're going to get knocked on your butt sometimes. Like bad stuff is going to happen. Not the best role model, but I like what Iron Mike Tyson said. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the jaw. You will get punched in the jaw. So count the cost. And just be realistic. Find people that can mentor you, not even like in an official program. One of the best things I did probably 10 years ago when we were focused mainly in property management, I put together a group of other business owners in completely different parts of the country, so we weren't competing, and we would meet monthly and just talk about this worked, this didn't work, this is what we're trying to do. And I got so much information from that group.
And I love that's funny. I just read that quote 2 days ago about Mike Tyson. So it's funny you said it. I'm with you. There's some crazy things, but that was a smart quote. Yeah. I love what you just talked about, that I think people have a business, start a business, and it's a servant's heart. Collaboration, even if it's the same industry. Talk about that, what you did and how it uplifted your business.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we did from the beginning is we never had a scarcity mindset. It was the pie is always growing. The new technologies, there's always better ways to do things. I made friends with most of my competitors. We would go out to lunch. I don't know if I would say transparent, but I was open and honest, and I didn't hide stuff. And we learned so much because most of the time, you're not going to be cookie cutter. There's going to be some things that you'll take that others won't. You can find mutually beneficial arrangements. And I just kept good people, and we were always studying and reading and learning, and we would always try new stuff. And there's another quote I like. It's learn from the mistakes of others because you won't live long enough to learn them all yourself.
Amen. And it's not the CIA. We got to be secret. That's what I tell people. This is open. And, it's interesting what you said about the collaboration is you guys worked together, had lunch, connected. How many opportunities came from that collaborating with your competitors?
I can't even count. I mean, businesses were started, businesses were bought and sold, software, employees. I couldn't even estimate. Definitely the majority.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I'm glad you said that because that's what I tell people. You never know who you're going to meet today. They'll give you a big opportunity today, tomorrow, or a month or a year later.
Yeah,
And
I know they're out of date, but I always say save business cards. Like people don't actually use business cards anymore, but figuratively speaking,
yeah,
save business cards because life is long and you'd be amazed that in 10 years you're going to need that person. So don't burn the bridge.
well, that leads to follow up, which is what I was just thinking about. How important is that?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's amazing. I've had employees that I've had to fire that I've hired later in a different company in a different role, or who had quit. I've had competitors that you kind of want to chew out sometimes, or you want to, or a customer or something. I've had customers of one company, customers of others. I've had people I've worked with become business part. Like you can't take back what you say. Like if you don't say it, you'll rarely regret what you didn't say. So just try not to burn that bridge. It might feel good in the moment, but your reputation, and even if nothing ever comes of it, you will develop a reputation as somebody that is trustworthy and just good to know. And I would leapfrog on that. I would say same thing with helping people. Don't just look for people that can help you. Find people that you can help, and I promise it. I don't really, I mean, karma, I'm not new age, but do that and you will get a reputation. People will realize you're a good person to know. It will work out in the long run because you'll never know. That person might do something great and they'll remember you. They might have an opportunity for you. But if you're cagey, if you're always looking for your benefit, yeah.
Yeah, my life's changed in the last year doing that because givers always should just give without thought, without
Yeah.
scoreboard. I gave you two, Rob, referrals. You need to give me two. Take that. It's not a sporting event. It's not a baseball game. This
Yeah.
is business and building relationships. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about, you told before the show about you have 500 employees all over the world and managing that because that's what you do as a business. Talk about that.
Yeah, we're approaching 500. We're not
Okay.
quite there, but we have offices in Mexico, the Philippines, and then we have offices here in 8 states. Our largest business is remote staffing. So most of those are permanently placed with clients throughout the US and Canada. Um, but it's a co-employment situation. So we have social events and we check in on them, make sure they're doing okay. And so one of our biggest tasks is ensuring that company culture can be maintained, even though we might never see this person in real life or on a quarterly basis or something like that. So we're always working to do virtual socials and keep in contact and leveraging social media to get the word out about stuff.
Do you work with companies that have remote access, remote employees all over the world? And how do you handle those?
Our clients are in the US and Canada. We've got one in Bermuda or Bahamas, I forget which one, and then one in Germany. And then the employees are in Mexico and the Philippines.
So working, and thank God for the internet, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. We
Right?
wouldn't have the show, right? But that's of course, that ship has sailed. So what's one or two things that you do with companies with their staffing to help them grow their business? That's the ultimate goal, of course.
At the end of the day, we're a headhunter. We work with people on the client side. Our biggest goal is make them understand what it is they need and prepare for it. Because we get countless people, particularly the smaller companies, going, I need help. And it's like, okay, great. What do you need? I need more people. Okay, I need more. And a lot of people, they want to throw bodies at their company without a solid plan to go forward. And I like to say that's kind of like adding a couple more timpanis and trombones to an orchestra. If the
Mhm.
conductor isn't leading, the sound isn't going to get any prettier. So I advise people, if you're going to add somebody, whether remote, domestic, whatever, take a 3x5 card or put a note on your phone. And for about a week, every time you say, man, I wish I had somebody else who could do that, or I wish I could delegate that, just write it down. And after a week or two, you'll have a pretty good list and you'll see, like, of 100 tasks, these 70 could be a job description. It's important to note you can't squeeze together everything into one position. I've had people say, I want a social media manager who's going to do accounting and then be my personal assistant. It's like, no, those are three very different things. So you have to be realistic about that.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, and then once we have that, we define the job description and we go out and find the best candidate for that. Because of the lower cost of living in those places, we're able to find great candidates, pay them really well, and then put them in good situations where they can stay for the long term and have a good opportunity to grow.
So it's like a sports team. That's why I think employees are. That's your team. But I'm assuming businesses aren't good at hiring. I mean, that's not their expertise. Their expertise is plumbing or tech or a lawyer firm. Where you come in and you have the expertise, you help them with that process.
That's a good way to say it. Gordian Business Solutions is the overarching brand, and our goal is to help companies where they're weak. Because you can be the world's greatest chef, but be horrible at running a restaurant.
Yeah.
You can be a great mechanic, but be horrible at the back office. So we offer for admin, customer support, accounting. We have Gordian Financial, where we'll do your back office. We have consulting. We have shared services. So we help businesses get through those turbulent times until they're big enough to hire their own people in-house. That's why so many companies kind of plateau or they circle at a certain level. They need skills they don't have, and they begin to regress and then go back up again. And we're trying to help people get out of that cycle of suck.
I like that because having the concierge or the buffet style of, hey, you talk to my company and you see that I need accounting and I see legal, let's say, I don't know if you do that,
Yeah,
but these are my holes and you can fill the holes.
exactly. Fractional IT, fractional
Yeah.
HR. These are things that we're trying to launch in the next few months to be that one-stop shop. Because what I've learned, especially in this country, if you're a one-man shop, you can probably fly under the radar for most of your life. You probably won't get hit with a major lawsuit. The odds of an IRS audit are pretty low. I won't say zero, but
Yeah.
you avoid most of the trouble. And then if you're a Fortune 500, you have in-house counsel and you have your own IT system. You have all of that. But in the middle, there's this turbulent zone where you're too big to stay out of trouble, but you're too small to have your own in-house people and have all that taken care of. And usually what got you to this level is being a great plumber or being a great chef. You didn't start off as a great business owner and build a business from nothing. You
Yeah.
started as a tradesperson of some kind, whatever
Right.
that might
Right.
be.
No, I like that because what's interesting is doing all this, you said something very important. Hey, when you're ready to go and you don't need us anymore, we walk away. We're there to help.
Exactly.
Not a lot of businesses do that. They try to hold on to these clients because they
No,
want to suck the money, right? You know exactly what I'm
no.
talking about.
Yeah. Well, and that's the beauty of the different modules is so we have Gordian Financial and we can be your entire accounting department. And I mean, our largest customer, I think, has 12 people assigned to his account and we do everything. But a lot of them, it's fractional. It's 5 hours of a staff account and 10 hours of a bookkeeper. And the great thing is, as they build, they can move to the staffing side where now they have their own dedicated people and they're still saving money. So we actually tell people, hey, you can pay us less if you do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we help them through those stages.
Definitely servant's heart. Love that phrase. Pay us less and grow.
We're
Instead
all
of
about the best option.
it,
Even if it's not us, I've told people you could save money by going with somebody else rather than us.
that's why I have Rob on the show, because that's the true leader, servant, servant heart that businesses should have. Because, like you said, the pie is so big. We don't need to chase people or fraud people or push people on, hey, buy this $8,000 thing when the $2,000 thing will work for whatever that may be.
And they'll remember that.
Yeah.
5 years, 10 years, at some point, they'll need you again. They'll tell somebody, or if not, you did something good. It's a good thing to do.
Well,
It's good for everybody.
Yeah, it is. It's a win-win. I call it win-win across the board. Your client, the person who referred you, if there's a referral, and of course your business. Let's do a shout out. You put out a lot of golden nuggets, great quotes. How can people reach out to you?
LinkedIn is probably the best way. You can find me there. Also, my company, Gordian Business Solutions, or you can check us out at GordianBusinessSolutions.com.
Awesome. Well, we talked about earlier charity and how you guys are very charitable in your business. Again, servant's heart. Listen to this audience, because I think it's important. I think, and Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, if I see two similar companies, one gives to charity and they promote that, the other one doesn't, it's not bad for this company, but I think as a human, we kind of lean towards the company that's charitable, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 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 and that's not why we do it. And
No,
I think there's a fine line between doing it to virtue signal and doing it because it's right. But
right.
yeah, it's something we've always done from the beginning. And I'm, not to get too hokey, but I believe part of why we've been blessed is because from the beginning we've taken what we did and did good with it, even when things were tight. So yeah, we're big believers in that. Every company, part of what we make goes to charity, and part of what we make goes to profit sharing. So.
And I'll be hokey. I totally agree with you 100%. That's what's happened, because I've seen it with other companies that have this mentality, the servant's heart of giving and not taking. And in a culture of an employees and the staffing, how much is giving important in that aspect of the company?
More and more, and I think this could be a very long conversation, but particularly as we're working with millennials and Gen
Mhm.
Z, that it should be Switzerland. Don't take a stand. Don't talk about stuff. Just show up, put the money, the time in, get the money out. But more and more employees in this generation and the next generation, they want a company with values. And here's the crazy part: it doesn't even matter if the values line up perfectly. They want you to stand for something, even if it's like, well, I think it's more important to work with the homeless, or I think it's more important to do orphanage, even if you're not doing exactly what they would do, they want to know that the company has a purpose, has a mission, has a goal. I think that's one of the big things you can do to retain people is to share that with them.
I love that, because it makes a big difference outside the world, but inside the company, it's so big. We lose sight of that. How's your culture being built? When you work with companies, do you work with the upper management, employees, or both?
Usually upper
Okay.
management. We certainly have gone in on a consulting basis and we'll talk to people and just kind of get the pulse of the front line. Another thing that's changed from 50 years ago is more and more of the ideas are coming from the front line, whereas 50 years ago it was all trickle down. Now I think the people closest to the problem are better educated and have had better critical thinking education in schools. Some schools.
Hey,
And so I think they're more capable of making suggestions and learning things. And we've moved from a hierarchical system to a meritocracy. The best idea wins. So we do try to facilitate that.
is there certain industries you work with, or is it pretty much a blanket into any industry you can work with?
We want to help wherever we can. A lot of our clients, the majority of our clients, are in the real estate property management space. I think that's only because that's where I started. My first company was a property management company, so that's what we know. But we are breaking into accounting, insurance, building services, and then a lot of mom and pop businesses. We're building a model that is a franchise without a franchise. So we'll work with restaurants and we'll work with mechanics and things like that. And all the things that you would get from a franchise, the bookkeeping, the advice, the fractional HR, stuff like that, we're providing without giving up control of the company. So our goal is to build a franchise without a franchise for these businesses that they can then pick and choose. Like, oh, my wife is an IT specialist. We don't need this. And to do it on a modular basis.
I like that, because growth franchises grow, as we know. McDonald's started with one, and it's $1 trillion, whatever value it is. If a company can do that, because sometimes people don't think about that when they start a business. Hey, I can replicate this or duplicate
Mm-hmm.
this and maybe grow even faster. I
Yeah.
love that franchise model. I'm going to do something. I'm really, really like what you're saying. So I'm going to do a big thing. Well, I think it's a big thing. So listeners, the first 5 people that reach out to Rob and mention this podcast, I'm going to mail you a gift, because I want Rob to be talking to you if you have a business or want to start a business, because this is where you need to start. I could just tell by what you're doing, how you're giving, and I'm assuming you'll do a discovery call if somebody reaches out.
Oh
You'll
yeah.
jump on, you
Yeah,
or
we
one of
love
your
to
staff.
help people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to see where they fit and see how you can fit with them.
Yeah,
Well,
of
that's
course.
awesome. Yeah, I want to do that. And like I said, reach out. He'll reach out to me and tell you your name, and I'll get your contact information, mail out a gift. We'll run out of time here. I really want to thank you for being on, because I think staff is the most important thing. I think that's where companies fail. Other things too, but I think, like sports, Bill Belichick's one of the top coaches in the world. If he didn't have a good team, Tom Brady and all the team that he had, he wouldn't have succeeded. And that's what you're doing, is building from the top down to make these companies successful in this crazy world. Can I ask one more favor?
Hmm.
Can you leave my audience with a tip that's helped you through all these great successes you've had in your journey that can help them?
Yeah, I'll leave with two actually. One, read at least a book a month. I try to do a book or two a week. I every time, even if it's the latest John Grisham, you'll learn something and it'll keep your brain active and looking for new stuff. The other thing is in terms of risk tolerance. One of the reasons I've tried so many things, and a lot of them have failed, but some of them have worked. Anytime I came to a situation, I would ask myself, what is the worst? What is the worst possible outcome that could happen here? And then what am I going to do if that happens? We have this fear of the unknown, and it's crippling at times. But if you look at it and say, I'm going to put all this money into advertising, what's the worst thing that happens? Okay, we go cash negative. Okay, and then I'm going to have to take on a partner, take on debt, maybe sell the business. Okay, and then, well, I guess I'd get a not. And you work through it and you realize, I guess the worst case isn't that bad. Because once you've dealt with the worst case scenario, everything else is easy. And it gives you a greater freedom to take risks and have balanced perspective on those risks.